Hey guys, this is Claire. I am going to be talking about myself. Okay. So, where to start? We can start at the beginning. So, I was born on March 4th in 1995. I am a Pisces baby to a T. I was born in San Antonio, Texas. And I was born to a mother and who had a son who was my brother, who was about maybe a preteen. And there was a man my mom lived with when I was born, or growing up, that I called Dad, but he was not my dad. He was not biologically related to me, as my mother didn't know who the biological father would be. Do I remember much from my childhood? I remember, some things. I remember always trying to drink the strawberry lemonade, and it never being strawberry lemonade. It was always rosé, which I now understand. And I loved bottles and diapers and binkies. And by like age 3, those were all things that I hadn't used in a while. Like by age 3, I was like already wishing I could be a baby still. And like wishing I was in diapers, wishing I had a bottle. So I grew up pretty fast, potty trained pretty fast. I was either taken away from my mom or given up for adoption around 3.5. She was alcoholic, couldn't take care of me or my older brother, and decided she would rather give us away than try and recover. I'm not quite sure who called CPS on her or why, or if she called them herself. I just remember at 3.5 getting into this car with all these people I didn't know. And my brother getting in a different car with all these people he didn't know, but he was screaming and crying. So I knew something was up, but I was just excited to be going somewhere in the car. So I really didn't think too much of it, and they took me to a new house, said this is your foster home. And that was also in Texas. I met the lady of the foster home, who's gonna take care of me, and her name was Mary. She had the kids call her Grandma Mary. I'm pretty sure the only other kids there, like the 2 or 3, I think they were actually related to her, but I wasn't. I threw a lot of fits. I remember we had like a season pass to SeaWorld. So yeah, I was in foster care, but I was still really privileged, and I had a pool in the backyard. And I don't know, I really liked it. It was kind of a brat, but yeah. And then one day they were just like, when I was 5, they were like, this lady is your Aunt Debbie, and she's coming from Oregon to meet you. Okay. Cool. So we went to SeaWorld. And we went to McDonald's, and I remember throwing a fit because I couldn't have ketchup with my McDonald's, or I didn't have enough, and like throwing this huge fit in front of my Aunt Debbie, and like the foster house was like kind of upset because they didn't think she'd adopt me after that, but like I'd shown her my true colors. Like I was just being myself. Yeah, and then like I don't even know, like later they were like, remember her, you want to live with her, she's gonna adopt you. So next thing I knew, I was on a plane by myself with a caseworker to Oregon to have a new family. I was really young, and I just wanted love and a family at that time, so I wasn't too distraught about being a foster kid or needing to be adopted. I really just wanted love. I'd come with a fair bit of trauma. I liked to throw, I mean, I don't think I liked it, but I did throw fits when I felt unheard. Or just like really, really sad, because anytime anyone got upset at me, I thought I was the worst person in the world, and la la la. I don't know. A lot of the trauma most kids go through. But I came with even more than just that. The man that we lived with when I was growing up before the foster home, he died. I don't know, it must have been like 3, and I remember, and maybe this was a big reason my mom couldn't take care of us anymore, or maybe she went through a depression, but I remember him dying and her cutting a piece of his ponytail and putting it in a Bible, and obviously not knowing what was going on at all. My first experience with death ever. And I remember like being his little girl and like loving him very, very much, and feeling a big loss of attention when he was gone. So I forget about that often, that this man I knew as Daddy when I was a toddler passed away. And so, yeah, like I said, my mom didn't have help watching us. My brother was a preteen, and he was looking to explore, and he didn't have the resources he needed. And so he decided, why not explore with my little sister? That was me. So, huge trigger warning here. If you don't want to listen to, like, the next part, just skip forward, like, a minute. I mean, I'm not even going to talk a minute, but, yeah. Unfortunately, I was introduced to, like, what sex was, and what pleasure was, what a vulva was at 3 years old. It made my time in foster care really awkward and really horrible. It made my time being adopted really awkward and horrible. And I can say that I think it has a big impact on my sexuality today. But I don't blame him. We've actually found each other and talked it through. But yeah, there was some trauma I came with to Oregon, to my new family. I would say the worst things they would see from me were hour-long screaming tantrums, and then something that really, really triggered them, they didn't want to see, was childhood, like, masturbation. Because, like, I'd been taught, and I was already going through a lot of hard times balancing my emotions, and so I had found something that naturally made me feel better and could, you know, slow my thinking down, and that's what that was. And I got in trouble a lot for being deviant, I guess. I don't really know where to go from here. I guess I can talk about my adopted family. So, when I arrived to Oregon, Aunt Debbie was at the airport waiting for me, and I recognized her. And with her was a young boy, older than me, maybe 8, and a big grown husband. And the husband didn't look what I thought a husband was supposed to look like, but not a bad thing. And I just remember getting off the plane and running into their arms and saying, "Hi, Mommy and Daddy." And Aunt Debbie looking at us and being like, or looking at me, "You know I'm Aunt Debbie, right? Like, you can call me that. That's okay." And I was like, "Well, why would I? Aren't you my new Mommy and Daddy?" Like, when I was little, I was just so, okay. It must have been a defense mechanism, how airheady I was and unaware of anything, but I was so happy to have this new family. I remember the ride home and being excited, seeing the house for the first time. I don't really remember when things started getting bad, but I can just remember, like, being afraid of this new family and knowing things that they didn't know. When I was in foster care, and even before, I was already taking care of myself, already bathing, already sometimes cooking and preparing food for myself. And that was really, really shocking and invasive for my adoptive mom, or my Aunt Debbie, to see. Just because she really babied her son, her biological son, who was older than me. I think it made her really uncomfortable that, like, a 5-year-old was, you know, acting like a 16-year-old, pretty set in her ways, and had her own ideas and opinions forming already. And my mom really didn't like that she couldn't form those ideas in me from the very beginning. That was a huge problem. We fought about everything. And it wasn't always like, it wasn't even a fight. It would just be like, "I'm interested in this." And her being like, "No, that's unacceptable. And you won't be doing that." Just out of nowhere. Like, I used to be able to paint my nails and wear belly shirts before I was adopted, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I wasn't allowed to do any of that anymore. I was seen as a child, 5 years old. It was really confusing. Very controlling. Very traumatizing to be getting in trouble for sexual trauma that you don't understand yet. And yeah, I don't know. They did not understand. Like, they made me cry all the time, and they just would be like, "Stop crying." Like, and I would just be like, "Why? You should just stop being so mean." I'm getting really tired of this story, guys, and I just don't want to talk about this anymore. So I guess I can make like a part 2. wherever I left off, or if you have questions, because it's just like, I don't even know. I'm so tired of telling my whole life story. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope that you're good, and I love you all.